Okay, guys, this is the balance mode update. Fresh. This is as fresh as it gets. You're not gonna get any fresher than this one. Literally 50 minutes ago. Okay, maybe can be, but whatever. So, balance mode update September 25th, 2018. Earlier this month, we announced our BlizzCon design patch containing changes aimed at improving StarCraft multiplayer. Around the same time, members of the Balance team were in Montreal to solicit feedback from top players in the World Championship Series circuit. Based on the feedback we received from the community as well as pro players, we decided to expand the scope of our initial balance proposal. Wait, are they adding more changes? Whew. Let's see. Protoss. Health and shields decreased from 200 to 150. I knew the moment I switched to Protoss, they're gonna nerf Protoss. I knew it. Guaranteed. There we go. Shield batteries nerfed. We've been monitoring proxy shield battery strategies over the last few months, and while we don't believe they're unbeatable, we would like to make this strategy slightly more risky. The thing is, I don't think this is gonna affect proxy shield battery changes. Like, you don't stop the proxy shield battery all-ins by killing the shield batteries. You know, like, that's not the problem, but okay. Specifically, we'll reduce the number of crucibles it takes to destroy them from 7 to 5. I guess that's quite a big difference, but again, if you're if you're in range as a Zerg to bile down the shield batteries, then the Protoss is either already dead or he's doing something very wrong, because there should be immortals in front of the shield batteries. So it's more like a change or like a nerf to Protoss mid and late game than early, I feel like. Yeah. War Prism! Oh my god! No, why did I have to switch to Protoss now? Out of all this time. War Prism pickup range decreased from 6 to 5. War Prism received a range pickup in Legacy of the Void, and for the most part we enjoy how it's worked out so far. Top Protoss players are able to show off their micro abilities, and it helps promote multi-prong offensive options. One area we could feel could see some improvement on is the ability for Zerg players ward off War Prism Archon openings. Come on, Blizzard, that's your reason? Don't get me wrong. When I was tearing, I always said, and I still think that War Prism pickup range is insane. Like, it is insane. But because of the War Prism and Archon strategy against Zerg, no one even does that anymore. It's like, that's a strategy from like 6 months ago. Everyone opened Stargate. But okay. With outranges the Queen's anti-air attack by 1. We'd like to reduce pickup range by 1 to allow Queens to interact more meaningfully. So they're basically just making Queens even better against everything. Why are they buffing Zerg? Hello? Again, I'm saying, War Prism pickup range should have been nerfed a long time ago. But the reason for this is to buff Zerg? Hello? Like, what? We believe this change could help open up many different potential Zerg openers, but we're also mindful of the fact that Protoss players rely heavily on the War Prism. But what are they watching? What year is it? Is this 2018? Have I been under a rock? Do Protosses really heavily rely on War Prism based tactics with Archon drops? I do see it every once in a while. If anything, Protosses are relying on Stargate openings, and that's what they're doing all the time. Right? I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe I've been living under a rock. Thus, we'll be keeping an especially close eye on this change. Again, if someone is like, oh, you're Protoss, now you're whining about Protoss changes, War Prism pickup should have been nerfed a long time ago. But these reasons are... I don't know. Void Ray. Prismatic alignment speed reduction decreased from 40% to 25%. Early in Legacy of the Void, we added a speed reduction to prismatic alignment to prevent Void Rays from overly punishing enemies fighting them. While we're still satisfied with the direction we took with this change, we believe that we could achieve similar result by toning the speed reduction a bit. I mean, this is a buff. Am I gonna make Void Rays now as a Protoss in the mid and late game more because of this? No. If anything, this just buffs the strategy that they were saying Protosses were abusing, which is like the one base shield battery pushes. But like, if you look at Void Ray, it's a good unit. The problem is it doesn't offer anything unique, and every other unit Protoss has just does a better job. That's why you don't see Void Rays. It's not like you don't see Void Rays because their prismatic alignment is slowing them too much. That's not what it's about. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure Protoss players are going to look at this and be like, okay, that's a cool buff, but I don't think anything will change. You know, it's just like, oh, now they're slowed less. That's great. Zerg. Oh, that's all for the Protoss changes. Okay, so not many. Zerg. Queen. Hold up. Transfusion will no longer instantly heal 125. Instead, it will instantly heal 75 and then a natural 50 over 7.14 seconds. Is this supposed to be a nerf? What kind of nerf is this? For Zerg early game, queens are integral when dealing with light harass and frontal pushes. They also provide a lot of utility with creep spread and their ability to inject larvae. We think the queen might be a bit too catch-all. Oh, wait, do you? What? Are you saying queens can defend anything from Protoss and Terran for the first 10 minutes in the game? Really? Interesting. Not like, you know, all the pro players have been saying this since the end of Wings of Liberty, when you buffed the auto attack range. You know. But the feedback is being listened. It's 2018 and now we have it, boys. Queens are a bit too much. But this is not the problem of queens, that they're too strong. Like, I'm not, as a Protoss or a Terran, I'm not pushing into queens and they're dealing with my air harass and I'm like, oh man, that transfused if it was only lower. You don't care about transfusing. The problem is the attack range. That shit has like a sniper on its back. What is the range against anti-air? It's insane. That's the problem with queens. This is not the problem. Again, it's like a prismatic alignment. It's a nerf, you know, this time. Is it gonna change much? Maybe if you do like a Marine Hellbat push, and you know when Zergs like transfuse queens back and forth. Overall, this is a very weak nerf. With this change, the heal over time portion of the heal will no longer stack, weakening the effect of chaining transfuses on high HP units such as other queens. Our goal with this change is to push players towards building combat units when facing dedicated aggression while maintaining the queen's strength. Naturally, this reduces the late game power of queens by lowering the efficiency of blood transfusion. Okay, yeah. This, in the late game, will have some effect when you transfuse like one ultra over and over. In the early game, it's not going to change anything. Zergs will just make 2 more queens to negate this nerf. You know? Their DPS and their range is what makes them crazy, not the transfusing. And also 50 health over 7 seconds? Like, if they made it, it instantly heals 50 and then at a national 75 over 10, then we're talking about a very nice nerf. That's a nerf. This, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Not too big fan of this change. It's like it's a nerf, but I mean, I think queens are more of an issue in ZVT for Terrans than it is for Protoss, because you don't really see queens defending like adept harassment, and this won't change anything as far as Phoenix Queen or Oracle Queen interaction. Absolutely nothing. It will be exactly the same. So this change is only for Terrans, and it doesn't really make a big difference at all. Weak. Queen versus Banshee. I mean, queens are still gonna destroy Banshees, so yeah. Creep. Building / creep tumor creep generation. Time between creep growth periods increased from 0.3 to 0.45. Okay, so they're nerfing creep spread speed, right? Overlord generate creep time between creep growth periods from 0.36 to 0.45. I'm not sure when exactly. I'm not sure if it was the beginning of the Legacy. It might have been. They actually buffed how fast the creep is spreading and how fast it's receding. Because back in Hots and Wings, you clear creep and it would take so long for the creep to move away. So what they did is they made the creep disappear fast, but they were also like, well, it's also now like spreading slowly. So then they buffed the speed that it's spreading. So I guess they're kind of reverting the creep spreading part while the receding part is still there. In the transition from Auto to Sworn Legacy... Oh, yeah, it says here. In the transition from Auto to Sworn to Legacy to Void, the creep growth period was cut in half from 0.6 to 0.3. Okay, so yeah. It was at the beginning of Legacy to Void. To account for other changes made during that period, while this practically translate into creep spreading twice as fast, it has certainly had an effect on Zerg's players' ability to control the map. Yes, it has. More recently, after much refinement on the part of Zerg players, we began receiving feedback the creep spread might be too oppressive, allowing Zergs to control large portions of the map, leading into the mid to late game. To help mitigate this, we'd like to experiment with creep spread rate, initially by adjusting to a rate that's halfway between the current live value and the value from Heart of the Swarm. As creep spread is core to Zerg identity, we'll be paying close attention to the result of this change. I mean, that's fair enough. So it was 0.6 in Wings and Hots, then they reduced it to 0.3, and now they're going like in the middle of that 0.45. So I guess it's fair. They shouldn't cut it to back to 0.6. So like the middle of the road approach that they're taking with this. And creep spreading it's one of those things, it's not OP. Like, you know, if you play a StarCraft game, you're not going to be like, you know, creep spread's broken, right? But it's one of those things that at a very high level, Zergs that are really good at creep spreading are able to, like it says, control the map insanely well. And you need to use so many scans to clear it. And don't even get me started like, oh, just build a Raven. It's not how the game works. I mean, you can build one Raven, but you can't clear it everywhere. Because it's like in 4 different directions. Roach. Tunneling claws decrease from 150 to 100. Okay. Tunneling claws no longer increases the health regeneration of Burrow Roach from 7 HP to 14. Oh, so they're nerfing it? Oh no, when you burrow, you get 7 HP a second. It used to be, when you upgrade Tunneling Claws, it used to be 14. Okay. In the Zerg vs. Zerg matchup, we see a lot of Tunneling Claws Roaches used to harass Mineralized. While we enjoy both the harass and comeback potential the disability afford Zergs, we've received a lot of feedback from Zerg players that it might be too good in this role. Because of the high health regeneration with the Tunneling Claws upgrade, it can take over twice the number of defense Roaches to dislodge harassing Roaches. I actually agree with this. You guys know I play Zerg the least. Um, and I do find this kind of obnoxious. And I've definitely had games where you're fighting and then the roaches burrow. And it's like, your roaches are auto-attacking, but it's actually healing faster than you're killing them if you don't send big enough number. And then you forget about it, and then they, you know, re-burrow or unburrow, and they just keep harassing. So I agree with that. It's very annoying in ZVZ, but making it cheaper, will also, like, you know, not make Zergs be like, oh, I'm never taking that again. They're still gonna use it, so. I think this is, I mean, like they say, it's a ZVZ thing. It's not really a thing for other two matchups at all. But, like the health regeneration, I'm pretty sure the Zergs are going to enjoy this being only 100-100. It makes it like a little bit more dangerous. In other matchups, Tunneling Claws is not seen. I like how I say something and then I read it. When it's used, the moving wall burrow functionality is more valued over additional health regeneration. Exactly. This set of changes is aimed towards slightly tuning down Roach harass in mirror matches while increasing its potency in the other matchups. I agree with this. I mean, not much else to say. Regeneration, great for ZVZ. The nerf, other matchups won't affect it, but it might kind of push the Zerg players to use the Tunneling Claws in the other two matchups because it's cheaper. Okay, Hydralisk. Health increase. Health increased from 85 to 90. Why? We just nerfed it. Blizzard. See, I'm gonna say why I hate this change. And you know, out there, if you're watching this later on YouTube or Twitch, yes, I am biased towards Protoss and Terran. Yes, I am. I am biased. But I'm going to tell you why this change is bad. First of all, Hydras were buffed 290 health long time ago. And now we see Hydras in every matchup, which is why they say they're nerfing the health to 85. Now, I'm going to tell you why this change is bullshit. No one plays the test map. No one. I've played the test map. I'm in queue for 5 minutes, and then I get matched against a gold player. I will cut off my head if any pro player actually played more than 2 games on the test map. Trust me, no one plays the test map. Not a single pro player entered and played hundreds of games. No one, because they need to practice for tournaments. This is a change that, I've said this on my stream as well. This is a change that you don't just enter a game, play one game, and you're like, oh, dude, this is nerfed way too much, or this is fine. This is a change that's 5 health on a unit, and you need to play many games, then take the win-loss from what you had before, from hundreds of games, and then compare it to this one, and then see if it actually affects it. So that's why this change is bad, because no one tested this. Zerg players saw this and they whined at Blizzard and they reverted it. Because this change wasn't in the test map long enough for it to be properly tested. This is a terrible change in the long run, because if they tested it and then Zerg win rates drop by 10%, sure, reverted. But no one tested it, and then you're just going back. Oh, let's give it back to 90. Too much work. Terrible change. Needle Spine's weapon speed changed from 0.54 to 0.57. Okay, so they nerfed Hydra DPS by 0.03 attack speed. We receive feedback from pro players of all races in Montreal that they'd rather see an attack speed nerf to Hydras as opposed to a health nerf. By reducing attack speed instead of health, we can reduce how deadly the Hydras is in larger armies, making it less of an all-around unit. No, it's still gonna be an all-around unit. If you nerf the health, it would have been an all-around unit. These changes are tiny. Well, not the health, but the attack speed, yeah. We can blah blah blah, while still maintaining the ability to fight units like oracles cost efficiently. What do you? It destroys oracles. In even numbers, that is. Maintaining their higher health also allows Hydras to have more back and forth interactions with threats like Psionic Storm. Guys, you don't need to be Grandmaster to understand that 5 health off of 50 Hydras is way bigger nerf and change than 0.03 attack speed nerf. 0.03 is nothing. Like, the health one, you can actually see it in games. Like, oh look, my tanks, like, man, I'll give some random numbers. Like, oh, now my tanks can 2-shot it. Oh, now my Liberators can 1-shot it. Now my Colossus can 3-shot it. But you're not gonna go in game and be like, oh man, I held that Hydra attack because the attacks, that 0.03 attack speed nerf came in clutch. It's shit. Less than 6%. It's nothing. Come on. I guarantee if you go on like a test map, and you know the unit test map, and you do like a unit versus unit comparison before the attack speed nerf and after, you're not gonna see any difference. You're gonna see the difference if it's 100 Hydras shooting, but if it's like 5 or 10 Hydras, you're not gonna see any change. So, for example, what Platt is saying in the chat, Liberators need 1 less upgrade to kill Hydras with the health nerf. This, it's not gonna change much. Like, the battles in StarCraft are not that small that you're gonna have 5 Hydras versus 2 Zealots or something. But it's also not, you know, a battle where you're gonna have 100 Hydras. First of all, let's say 50. You cannot have 50 Hydras shoot at the same time. It's that simple, because there's no space, right? I hate this change. This is a terrible change. I hate it. Next. Infested. Infested unit radius decreased from 0.75 to 0.625. So they're reducing the size, right? I actually agree with that. Infestors are very clunky and very fat, and it's just awkward to use them in your army when they're arm burrowed. So, like, this is not a buff like, oh my god, they're OP. This is just a kind of buff to, quote unquote, fix infestors. They are very clunky, so I agree with that. Burrowed unit radius now matches the new unburrowed unit radius. Okay, that's fair. Model scale decreased from 0.85 to 0.75. What does model scale mean? What's the difference between unit radius and model scale? Infestors can now move through units while burrowed. Okay. Wait, didn't they used to do that before? So this is reverted? Fungal growth will no longer allow affected units to blink, tactical jump, or load into transport/buildings. Look, I agree. Zerg infestors, they needed to be smaller. They needed to be less clunky. Let me just smack my head on the table. Why are you buffing Zerg? Hello? Do they not see that in top 20 GM, there's like 16 Zergs on both NA and EU. And I know there's gonna be someone like, yep, but in Korea, Cyril beat all the Koreans, okay? Just get that out of the way. So maybe Korean Zergs should learn how to play. Just play like Cyril, am I right? So Fungal Glove will no longer allow affected units to blink. The thing is, Blink Stalkers come to mind, right? Because Blink. This is not going to change anything for Protoss, because you don't really make Stalkers in PvZ in this meta. You just don't. Tactical Jump. This is what I always say. Blizzard always does this. They buff a unit that's completely shit, like Battlecruiser, and then they buff all the counters to it. Why are you buffing the unit in the first place? You know what I mean? They buffed Battlecruisers, and then they buffed Tempest, which is the counter to the Battlecruisers, and now you're buffing Fungal Growth so that Battlecruisers can't blink. You didn't buff Battlecruisers then, you actually made them worse than before. Because now the Infestor and the Tempest are better against all the units. And you're still not gonna make Battlecruisers. Because the counters are buffed. That logic, I never understood it. And I don't see how Blizzard doesn't see this. This has been going on for years. They would buff a unit and then they buff its counters. And no one makes that unit still. You know? So again, since I'm playing Protoss as a main, this doesn't affect me at all. This is literally because Fungal also doesn't interact with War Prism very much. Because when you're harassing with War Prism early game, there won't be Infestors. And you're not really going to defend War Prisms in late game with Fungal and Infestors, right? This literally is just nerf to Terran. Which you could already neural the Battlecruisers. Now you can just Fungal them and it can't move away. So, it's a nerf to Battlecruisers. It's a nerf to Medivacs. And just Bio in general, or mech, depending if you're using drops. So I don't know what to say. This is terrible. I feel bad for I mean, I don't know. Anyway, we've heard a lot of feedback that Infestors feel clunky to use, so we would like to make a few tweaks to improve their usability. We'll also like to give Fungal Growth some more utility. More utility. Some more utility. Okay. So apparently, like, two-shotting whole Terran air fleet with two Fungals. And literally taking the enemy units and using their abilities and spawning free units was not enough utility. You might want to take a look at Raven. That thing doesn't have utility. Infestors, I don't know. Terrible. This is a terrible change. And it's so unnecessary. That's what bothers me. This is just unnecessary. Don't understand it. Nidus Network. Nidus Network cost decreased from 200 to 250 to 150, 150. We received feedback that while many players like the direction of the new Nidus, the initial cost might be a bit too high. Nidus all-ins are sufficiently weakened now that the worm is no longer invulnerable when tunneling. Because we're also testing tuning back the Queen's transfusion ability in the update, we'd like to see how far we can go with the Nidus Network cost reduction. Well, you can go all the way to 0. This is certainly one of the more experimental changes we'd like to try out, so we'll be watching close on how it plays out. See, this is something I don't mind at all. Like they said, this is an experimental stage, and I like that they're testing it more instead of being like, no, too much, revert it all the way back, like they did with the Hydras. I don't mind this at all. We did some testing yesterday, which I'll be uploading my YouTube as well in the next day or two. With the Nidus, what units can kill the new Nidus, because the Nidus is not invulnerable anymore. And I do agree, it is very expensive, even though the Nidus worm is now 50-50, but it can be killed. So I don't mind this change. I like that they're testing with it. Wait, where are the Terran changes? Hello? Did I miss? There's no Terran changes? Wait, are you telling me they just buffed Zerg in this thing? Protoss nerf. Void Ray bullshit change. Nerf. Let's call it nerf for the queens. Creep, nerf. Okay, that's a nerf. Roach buff. Hydra buff. Infested buff. Nidus network buff. And let's not forget, the War Prism nerf is the Zerg buff. What did I just read? Fixed an issue that caused the attack animation of the Colossus to desync when exiting and transfer. Oh, that's good. Battlecruiser. The 80 attack will now deal 5 damage instead of 8. Will no longer be able to use its normal attack when using an ability. Okay, closing words. This is terrible, Blizzard. This is very, very bad. I can't believe that the Ravens have not been addressed at all. I can't believe that the Thors have not been changed in some way. Yes, they did receive a buff, but they also received a nerf to armor. I can't believe they didn't say anything about the carrier. Like, just say it's going well, just so we know. Because those are the big changes. I don't know. I think... I want to say one thing. These changes are not final, right? What I am upset about right now... They mentioned Ravens? Where? Fix the typo? Yeah. See, what upsets me about this, the changes are not final. They might not go through, they might go through, whatever. What upsets me about this is, after BlizzCon, Zerg is getting buffed. Because all the changes they're making are Zerg buffs. So, like, whether these changes go through, whether they revert some of them, they are buffing Zerg. And that's what upsets me. Zerg is literally, I have twice as many games on EU in top 50-100 GM against Zerg than Terran and Protoss combined. Yes, Serral is a unique individual that makes Zerg look broken. But there's so many Zergs. And they're buffing Zerg? It just blows my mind. It just blows my mind. Okay, well. Oh well, that's it for the update. Yikes. Yikes. 2019, I'm going Zerg, boys. And you know why? So they can nerf it right after I switch to Zerg. Whew. Okay, let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube or you boys on Twitch. I'm actually curious what people think. Again, I am biased. I'm not might be. But I'm really trying to think of this as objective as possible, and some of these changes are just crazy. just crazy. Oh well.
If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and make sure to check out one of my previous videos. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Have a very nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.